Are you ORR ready? Are you ORR ready? Throughout my years of visiting elementary schools to transition students to ORR JHS, I have collected all their questions and put them together in today's presentation to help prepare you for coming over to join us. But first, a little bit about me. My name is Mr. Chellis. Some of my students call me Miss D. Welcome to 7th grade. I will have the pleasure of being your guidance counselor for both 7th and 8th grade. Let's get to the real reason that we're here today. When you think about starting junior high school, how are you feeling? Are you feeling like my friend over here on the right and you're feeling really anxious and excited about going to junior high school? Or you're feeling like my friend over here on the left and kind of scratching your head like, not so sure. I kind of have a lot of questions. Maybe you're feeling a little worried about it, a little nervous, a little anxious, not so sure. Well, that's okay. Hopefully, after today, I'll answer some of those questions that you might have. But first, when you think about starting junior high school, what are you looking forward to? Or what might you be worried about? Are you thinking about a new school building, new classes, homework, new teachers, meeting new people, or making new friends? The reason I put this slide in here is because whether you're looking forward to junior high school or you're still kind of scratching your head thinking about things or you're worried or anxious or nervous, it's usually about these topics. And the good news is, whether you're looking forward to it or you're worried about it, it's about the same topics. So it means that we can answer those questions about these things, and you too can start to look forward about these same topics. So let's start to dig in a little bit. So, what does the school look like? How will I find my classes? Will I get lost? How will I know when to change classes? I want to take you on a little mini tour of the 7th grade wing, and most of those questions will be answered in this tour. Since you didn't get to go on a tour of the junior high school, I'm going to take you on a very quick tour right now. This is the back of the junior high school here, where your buses will come around the corner and drop you off. When you get dropped off, you're going to proceed through this door right here. When you walk in, you're going to go right to the left up this stairwell here. This is known as the 7th grade stairwell. Okay, when you reach the top of the stairwell, you're going to come to a hallway on your left, which is the red team hallway. This is the hallway here where all of your academic classes will be. This is guidance. This is where my office is, as well as the assistant principal, Mrs. Schwinnard. And this is the blue team hallway. Okay, I'm going to walk down the blue team hallway so that you can actually see all of your academic classes are here, and above each door, you'll notice that they are labeled with the name of your teacher. So there's a blue sign indicating the blue team hallway, and that's Mr. Ori. And then Miss O'Brien, and you'll continue along. And above each door, you'll find your classes. Mrs. Barrett, Mr. Calderoni, and Mrs. Kavanaugh and Mrs. Roberts. Okay, and if you continue around, it brings you right back into the red team hallway. So it's one big circle. Okay, so you can see that finding your classes is pretty easy. You really can't get lost because it's one big circle. So if you miss your class on the first time around, if you just keep walking in that circle, you're going to find it in the second pass. Now, that's your academic classes. For your exploratory classes, those classes are found directly below you. So, using that seventh grade stairwell that you saw in the beginning of the video, you just go down the stairs, and there's the same exact setup downstairs with that circular hallway pattern, only the signs are labeled yellow with your teacher's names. So if you are going to your health class, you'd look for a yellow sign with the name Mrs. Juvenile. And you'd just go in that circular pattern until you found the yellow sign with Mrs. Juvenile. And downstairs, you'd find your music classes, your health classes, your computer science classes. We'll get to the exploratory classes in a few slides. But again, it's quite simple. It's upstairs is your academic classes, blue team, red team. We'll get to teaming in a little bit. And downstairs is your exploratory classes. But very simple. And how do you know when to change classes? We have bells. So at the end of the class, the bell will ring and it'll tell you that it's time to transition to your next class. So it's pretty simple. You really can't get lost. And if you really truly can't find your class, you saw in the video where my office is. It's right at the end of the hallway. You can always pop right into my office. I have an open door policy. Kids pop in to see me all the time. You can just come right in, ask for where a class might be, and I can walk you right to class. So students, how many students will I be with in school? What other schools feed into ORR JHS? Will I be with my friends? And how will I make new friends? Well, this is pretty simple actually, believe it or not. One thing I want everybody to remember is we have three main towns that feed into ORR JHS, which is Rochester, Marion, and Mattapoisett. Those elementary schools all come into ORR JHS. And when kids are transitioning into ORR JHS, they're all transitioning in with the same thought in mind. How will I make new friends? So everybody's sort of going into the junior high school wanting to make new friends, wanting to meet new people. So, with that thought in mind, combined with the fact that the first month of school is all about community building, getting to know you, that it just happens naturally. You're going to naturally meet new people and make new friends. It's really not something that you have to even think about, how will I make new friends? Because it's just going to naturally take its course. It's going to naturally happen because of the activities that we're going to be doing and the fact that everybody's sort of coming in with that same thought process, that same desire to meet new people and make new friends, that it just naturally happens. And the second thing I want you to remember is that you're also going to the junior high school with your old friends. So you're going to go there and you're going to be with your old friends. It's not like you're going there by yourself. Your old friends are going to be there with you. You might not be on the same team, but you'll still see them. We're all mixed together, so you'll still see your old friends even if you're not on the same team. You'll see them at lunch. You might see them at exploratory time. And you might even actually be on the same team with them. Maybe not in the same classes, but you'd see them in the hallways, or you'd see them again at lunchtime, or in exploratory classes, or when we do extracurricular type things. So, two things I want you to remember. It happens naturally, making new friends and meeting new people, and you're still going to the junior high school with your old friends. Okay? And how many students will you be with at the junior high school? Well, we have roughly about 200 students coming to the junior high school this year, and your class sizes will probably be a, about 20 kids in a class, maybe smaller. So your teachers, how many teachers will I have? What are teams? And how many teams are there? Well, let's first start with your what teams are. So teams, basically, for students, what students need to know, there's two teams in seventh grade. There's a blue team and there's a red team. And basically, for students, what they need to know is, if you're on a team, what that means is you're going to have the same teachers for your core classes. What your core classes are English, math, science, and social studies. So if you're on the blue team, every blue team student is going to have the same English, the same math, the same science, and the same social studies teacher. If you're on the red team, all red team students will have the same English, math, science, and social studies teacher. The other thing it means is if you're on the blue team, you'll be in the same hallway. If you're on the red team, you'll be in the same hallway. Other things is, as teams, you might do team building activities together. You go on field trips as teams. You do certain activities as teams together. But other than that, that's really what the team means for students. It means other things for teachers, but for students, that's kind of what it means as a team. As far as teachers, how many teachers will you have? At any given time, you will have your 4 core academic teachers: English, math, science, and social studies. You'll also have either an ELA plus or math plus teacher, or you will have a world language teacher. So again, that's your ELA, math, science, and social studies teacher. So that makes 4 teachers. Then you will have either an ELA plus or math plus teacher, or a world language teacher. So that makes 5 altogether. And then you will also have 2 exploratory teachers. So that makes 7. So at any given time, you'll have 7 teachers. Okay, so your classes and your schedule. What will classes look like? So what classes will I take? What will I have for exploratory classes? What will my schedule look like? So all great questions. So a typical 7th grade schedule, you'll have year-long classes. You'll have semester classes. Those are simply half-year classes. And then you'll have quarter classes. So every quarter, you'll get a new schedule. So for your year-long classes, you'll have your core classes, which is math, English, social studies, and science. Okay, so math, English, social studies, and science. For semester classes, you'll have semester 1 and semester 2. Those are your half-year classes. You will either have Spanish, Latin, ELA plus, or math plus, and it could be any combination of these classes. These are just examples that you're seeing here. So it could be Spanish for half of the year, Latin for half the year. It could be ELA plus and then Latin. It could be ELA plus and Spanish. It could be ELA plus and then math plus. It could be any combination of those classes. And then for quarter classes, you will have, every student will take all of these classes, but maybe not in this order. It could be in any order, but you will take all 8 of these classes. So you'll have physical education. You'll actually have 2 quarters of physical education. You'll have music and technology and general music. Those are your music classes. You'll have computer science, art, health, and technology education. We usually call that tech ed. Okay. If you are a chorus student, this is your schedule will look exactly the same as a typical 7th grade schedule, with the exception of chorus. Chorus is a 3-quarter class, and so chorus will take the place of your general music and your music and technology class, as well as a PE class. So you'll see it lays right over general music, music and technology, and PE. I'll just flip back to that typical 7th grade schedule so you can see music and technology, general music, and phys ed. So if you take chorus, because chorus is considered a music class, you would not take general music or music and technology because chorus fulfills your music requirement, and you have one less PE. If you are a band student, band is a full year course. So what happens with band is a music course, so you do not have to take the music and tech or the general music class. You also lose 1/4 of physical education. And you'll notice down here what happens is you will lose either art or computer science. So what happens down here is you'll have phys ed, you'll have health, and you'll have tech ed. And you'll be scheduled for either art or computer science. These are randomly selected. You unfortunately do not get to choose whether you want art or computer science. They're randomly selected based on the number of students we have in those classes in your schedule. So it's whatever happens to fit in your schedule. So unfortunately, you cannot choose. It's really what fits in your schedule. So again, I'll flip back so you can see what it takes place of. This is a typical schedule. So it's taking place of music and technology, physical education, general music, and then physical education pops down here because physical education is a required course that you have to take. So then computer science pops over here, and it's either computer science or art that gets replaced. And we'll go back so you can see computer science or art. Okay. So moving on to what your schedule will actually look like. We have a 7-day cycle, it's called. Now, it looks a little scary, but it actually is very easy, okay? We have what's called mods. When you get your schedule, you're going to have 7 mods. And we're going to look at this student's schedule here. So his mod 1 class is social studies. His mod 1 class will always be social studies. His mod 2 class will always be tech ed. His mod 3 class will always be health. Okay. What will rotate is the day. Okay. So day 1, we run on a 7-day cycle, we call it. And so day 1 starts with mod 1. Day 2 will start with mod 2. Day 3 is going to start with, what mod do you think day 3 is going to start with? You guessed it, mod 3. And day 4 will start with mod 4. Day 5 will start with mod 5. Day 6 will start with mod 6. And day 7 will start with mod 7. And we just go in order from there. So day 1, we have mod 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Day 2 is mod 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then it starts over with 1. Day 3 is mod 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Starts over with 1, 2. Day 4 starts with mod 4 and goes 4, 5, 6, 7. Starts over with 1, 2, 3. Day 5 starts with mod 5 and goes 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Now remember, mod 1 class will always be social studies. So if you look at mod 1 here, it's social studies. If you look at mod 1 here, it's social studies. If you look at mod 1 here, it's social studies. Mod 1, social studies. So your mods never change. The mod that you're assigned for mod 1 is always going to be social studies. Now, when you get your schedule, this is always filled out for you. So in the mornings when you come in, over announcements, we always announce what day it is. Your teachers are always in the hallways telling you what day it is. So really all you need to know is what day it is, and we provide your schedule rotation for you. So we do all the work for you, so you really don't even have to worry about really knowing anything. You just have to have this paper schedule with you. So I always tell kids to tape their schedule in their agenda book and then tape a schedule in their locker. That way, when you come in the morning, you hear the announcement, it's day 1, you can just follow your schedule and you know exactly what classes you have when. The other thing I tell students to do is mark up their schedule. So your schedule does not come with these nice colored lines in them. I'm going to just kind of tell you what these colored lines are. So these colored lines, the green lines, indicate when you get to go to your locker. So the first green line is right when you get to school, right off the bus. Right before homeroom, you get to go to your locker. And you're going to have your first 3 periods of the day. So these are your periods here. So first class of the day, second class of the day, third class of the day. So when you go to your locker, you're going to get what you need for your first 3 classes of the day. So if it's day 1, you're going to grab your social studies, tech ed, and health materials. You're going to go to those 3 classes, and then after health, you're going to go back to your locker. So you go back to your locker, you put the materials from these 3 classes away, and you're going to grab the materials for keyboarding and science. After science, you'll go back to your locker, put that stuff away. You'll grab your stuff for lunch because this pink line right here is lunch. And then after lunch, you can go back to your locker, put your lunch stuff away, and grab your materials for the last 2 mods of the day. And then after accelerated math, you'll go back to your locker, grab what you need for home, put whatever you don't need away, and go to the bus. You'll also notice on your schedule, you have your locker number, your locker combination. So you do not want to lose your schedule because you don't want anybody knowing your locker number or combination. It also has what team you're on. It also has your homeroom teacher, your RTI teacher, and your advisory teacher on there. RTI and advisory is actually the same block. RTI is a time of the day, which I'll show you on the next schedule. What this actually is the same exact thing that I just showed you with the days across, the mods, just without classes in them. But this actually shows the time. So our classes are about 44 minutes. And this shows you what time lunch is. So that was that pink line that I showed you. So lunch is about 20 minutes. And then we also have RTI. So RTI is about a 43-minute class period that's built into the day. That's where you'd go to your RTI teacher. And that's also a time where you can get extra help from a teacher. A teacher can pull you for extra help or an intervention. Or you can use it to get a jump start on your homework for that night. So yes, teachers can give you up to an hour to an hour and a half of homework per class. However, if you use your time wisely and productively in class, oftentimes teachers issue that hour and a half of homework a night. However, most of that homework is work that they do in class with you. So if you're productive in class, you've gotten much of that homework done in class. And then you can also use that RTI time to get a jump start on homework for that evening. Never use RTI for homework that's due that day because you can be pulled by teachers for intervention. But you can also use RTI to get a jump start on homework for that evening. Or if you need extra help, you can go to a teacher to get extra help as well. And then also during this RTI time, we also do have advisory time. So certain days of the week are designated for advisory. So this just shows you our start and end times for class, just so that you can see, our start time for the day, our end time for the day. This is homeroom, and then each mod or period when they start and when they end. Okay. So lockers. Will we have lockers? How will I remember my locker combination? What if I have never opened a lock before? And what if I have trouble opening my locker? Please don't stress about lockers. We spend probably the first 2 weeks going over locker combinations and practicing opening our lockers. If you are nervous or worried about that, in my Google Classroom that at the end of the slide I'll talk to you, end of this presentation I'll talk to you about, I do post some helpful tips and tricks on opening lockers. So you can certainly go to that resource over the summer if you want to practice that. But the first 2 weeks we do helps guide students through opening their locks. We know that they can be tricky and it can take some time to learn them and memorize your combinations. So we are out there helping students practice those locker combinations. So please don't stress about that over the summer. We want you to enjoy your summer and not worry about that. We are taking the first 2 weeks to help you practice that. Some of you will come in and you'll get it right away. Others, it takes a little bit longer, but that's okay. And honestly, sometimes it has to do with the locker that you get. Some of the lockers are a little bit easier to open. Some of them are a little bit trickier. If you happen to get a trickier lock, sometimes we'll move you to a different locker. So don't even worry about it. We will work with you to help you with the lockers. Okay, so if you have trouble opening your locker, we are right there with you that morning that you come in probably the 2 weeks of school. So cafeteria, this is one of my favorite slides because the cafeteria is one of my favorite places at the ORR JHS. And why? Because it's the only place that we are actually connected to the high school. So yes, we are connected to the high school. We do share the cafeteria. It's the only space that we share with the high school. But please don't worry about that. At no time will you ever see a high school student. When we are in the cafeteria, the doors to the high school are shut. Nobody is allowed to come into the cafeteria when we are in the cafeteria. And at no time will you ever see a high school student in the junior high school. If they are in the high school, it's because they have permission to be in the high school and they are tagged. They're wearing a tag because sometimes they'll come over to work with students, but very rarely would you ever see a high school student in the junior high school. So I don't want anybody to worry about seeing high school students or interacting with high school students. That very rarely ever happens. But the benefit to sharing the cafeteria is it's really catered to high school students. So the food is really good. You pay for your lunch just like you do at your elementary schools using your lunch code. It's the same code that you'll use when you get here. We do serve breakfast. We have breakfast carts that are set up. The cafeteria workers are excellent. They play some really cool upbeat music in the morning. You can go right off the bus to the breakfast cart, grab some breakfast, and go up to homeroom to have your breakfast. You can absolutely sit with your friends at lunch. The only thing is we do have the 7th and 8th graders sit at separate tables. So they're on separate sides of the cafeteria. So you can sit with your friends as long as they're in the same grade level as you, but you are separated from each other from different sides. But as far as the cafeteria, we have everything from pizza stations to hot food lunch every day that changes. And then we have a chicken patty station. We have salad stations. They have a wrap section where they have different wrap sandwiches for you. Again, the different salads, from chicken Caesar salads to buffalo chicken salads to all different kinds of salads for you to choose from. We also have what I call mini Subway. It's not really Subway, but it's a station where you can go up to and you can customize how you want them to make your sub sandwich. They have all kinds of chips and stuff for you to snacks to pick from, choose from, all different kinds of snacks and fruits and things like that for you to pick from. So it's really a wonderful cafeteria, and the food is excellent. Woo. So clubs and activities. One of the best parts of middle school is getting involved with the activities you love and trying out new things. And we really do encourage our students to join a club or a sport. We know that when you are actively involved in your school, you're going to enjoy school more. And when you enjoy school more, you're more invested. And when you're more invested, you're more successful. So please get out there, enjoy yourself here at the junior high school, and join the clubs. If you're, anxious about joining a club, but you really want to, but you just, not sure how to do it, please come see me. I'm happy to, help you through that hurdle. I'll even join a club with you. I have no problems. But, please don't not join a club that you're interested in because, you're just kind of anxious about it or shy. Come see me. I'll introduce you to the advisor, and we'll get you set up so that you're comfortable joining. But we have everything. Please look through the list, and consider something, because they're wonderful. They're exciting. It's a great way to introduce yourself to other students that you might not have a chance to get to meet. So definitely consider getting involved at the junior high school and joining a club or an activity. So the last slide here is Middle School Made Easier, Google Classroom. It is my Google Classroom that you will have with me for the 2 years that I am here at the junior high school with you. I post all the time using the Google Classroom. There will be so many resources up there for you. I use it heavily in 8th grade for high school planning and transitioning. I will also be using it this summer to send you information and resources to continue to help you prepare for joining us here at the junior high school. So I have sent an invite to everybody. If you didn't get the invite, please send me an email and I'd be happy to get you connected. My email address is Sherry DeChellis at oldrochester.org. That's SHERIDECHELLIS at oldrochester.org. So that concludes our presentation here today. I hope that I have answered most of your questions, if not all, and you are feeling much more comfortable about the junior high school and you are feeling ORR ready.